Right.
It's like $400 an hour.
Yeah. But it's also valuable feedback. I don't want them to give me any compliments. I'm like, cut to the chase. What did you not like? I want to know what I need to fix. Because the ultimate goal is I want the best story possible before I'm submitting it to an editor or an agent.
Welcome to the Storiers.
Creepy. Almost creepy. Today we have an interview for you with the fabulous Shannon Anderson.
Children's book author.
Yes. Bam.
She's going to talk about some phenomenal ways from free to $400 an hour to get some amazing feedback and make your books and your writing that much better.
Before they go to the publisher, there is a group that's already hearing them, or maybe there's different groups. Can you tell us, kind of in your experience, what you found to work best for you in terms of testing your material, making sure it's worked, your lines are landing, how you envision them, tweaking? But that's a separate question. But anyway, I'll just let you go.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a third grade teacher, so I have a classroom, and that's kind of my beta readers. It works out really nicely because I have credibility being an author with my students, so they trust me when we're doing all of our writing lessons. But also it kind of gives us a little bond that they're a part of some of my stories. And so they get to be the first ones to hear them. But it also helps me when I'm reading a story aloud to them if they're laughing in the right parts, or if I feel like they're drifting off and bored in parts, then I take mental note of that and make those changes. Sometimes kids will give amazing suggestions for things. You know, I'll say, okay, so I've gotten this far, what should happen next? Or do you think this problem worked, or this solution for the character worked? And they give great ideas because they're not as inhibited as we are as adults. They think way outside of the box. And so they can sometimes come up with something crazy creative that I would not have thought of on my own. So that's awesome.
I had this little 3-year-old girl innovate the Princess and the Frog story to me that just like literally blew my mind. And so yeah, it's amazing what kids can do.
The other thing is, if you aren't in a classroom, I mean, first of all, there are a lot of teachers that would let you come in and read to the kids, but making use of critiques is the way to go. Every conference I go to, I pay for a critique so that I can have someone look at my writing that's unbiased, because you know, you can have a family member look at it, but they're gonna have to say, oh yeah, Mom, that's great, or you know, your sister or whatever.
So is there a price tag? Like, what's the range on that cost?
It can vary. For instance, at a lot of our conferences that we have for SCBWI, it might be $30 or $40, 10 to 20 minutes as a sit down, but also written notes, and the manuscript is sent ahead of time. When I go to LA and New York to those conferences, they're $100 apiece. And you get about 15 to 20 minutes to sit down with the person, and you get written feedback. Right.
It's like $400 an hour.
Yeah. But it's also valuable feedback, and so I feel like it's worth it because I want to improve. And as a matter of fact, when I sit down at one of those, because I've paid a lot of money, I don't want them to give me any compliments. I'm like, cut to the chase. What did you not like?
I want the truth!
I want to know what I need to fix, because the ultimate goal is I want the best story possible before I'm submitting it to an editor or an agent. Or in a great situation, sometimes the editor is the one doing the critique. And so if they have read your story that closely, you know, they may even end up being interested in it. So it's always a chance too that someone's going to like your story, and you know, that's the dream. I'm going to get that editor that's going to read my story, and as they're reading it, they're going to fall in love with it and hopefully want it. So there's always that too that you hope for when you're getting a critique. But I also go to these conferences to learn from other people. It's just like when you're learning an instrument or you're in a sport, you want to learn from the best coaches and teachers to get better yourself. And so going to the conferences and learning from people that are in the business, that are published, that are doing well, and getting those one-on-one critiques where you can get that sound advice and ask specific questions that are just for your work, I feel like that's the best way to improve, and having other people read it. But I've been at conferences where the editor says, please don't tell me in your query letter, I read this to my grandkids and they thought it was a great story. That's not a beta audience, and you don't want to say that, because then they're just going to say, well, of course, you're their grandma. You know, they're going to say they love your story. So you have to get out there and get some unbiased opinions too, not just ones of people that love you and care about you and are going to give you the pat on the back.
That's really good. The classroom is pretty untamed. They will just say anything, which is great. If they do have a filter, it's a filter in progress. And so I think that's genius, actually.
I train them when we're doing our writing in the classroom to be good critiquers and talk about how, is it helpful if I just say that's a good story? Not really.
Right.
But if I can specifically point out, that part was kind of confusing, I didn't get that. Or if I can point out a spot that I noticed, maybe there's a conventional error of some kind. Or maybe at the end, you still left me hanging a little too much. I want to know a little bit more. Those kinds of things that I train them to do with each other to help each other get better, I have them do with me. And I'll tell them, this is not going to be helpful to me unless you're totally honest. And I want to know if there is a part that you didn't understand or that wasn't very good or that you have a different idea for or that I could expand on. And they're usually pretty good about doing that.
Where can people find all of the greatness that you have?
Well, my website is ShannonIsTeaching.com. And so I have everything about my books on there, about my author visits. I have some resources for teachers and writers on there. And my Twitter handle is @ShannonTeaches. So it's all kind of a teaching theme. And I'm on Facebook. It's author Shannon Anderson is my professional page. So yeah, I'd love to connect with people and answer questions. And
Thank you very much for your time.
you're welcome.
There you have it.
There you have it.
What are your thoughts?
It's great information. Great information. Shannon has, I'm about to steal what you said last take. Shannon is really keyed in on our target audience.
Yeah,
So with saying in the classroom, getting the kids to be beta readers for a children's book. But every writer should go and try to do the same thing. Find people that like the things that you're writing, people whose opinion you can trust that's going to give it to you straight, and just go ahead and put it out there so you can get the proper feedback and you can shape that book into exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah, and she had feedback for every budget, which is good. So you got the target audience, and the target audience really should always be free. Find people in that group. She's got a great built-in system. With the critique is, going to these conferences, and that's a place that's
That's
been
a good point.
invaluable for us. Met a lot of the authors, editors, agents.
Shout out Michigan Writers Workshop. That's actually where we interviewed Shannon.
Exactly. So, $100 isn't just a drop in the bucket, but at the same time, when you're really serious about your craft and taking it to the next level, those are the kind of things that you need to be doing.
You have to be willing to invest in yourself.
If this is what you want to do, you got to put your money where your mouth is.
So I got a question for you. When are you going to pay for that $400 critique?
I got to get a draft done first, which I am working on.
Yeah.
Last night, this morning, getting it in.
That's good news. That's good news. I actually got to write a little bit last night. We're getting off traffic. So, we're getting off traffic.
So, Shannon has actually she's got a bunch of books.
Bunch of books. Again, in case you missed that in the intro.
All that stuff will be below in the description.
What's the name of it? Was it Monster and Dragon Right Home? Because that's a cool title, man. That sounds like a cool little children's book. Monster and Dragon Write Poems. Shannon Anderson's new book, man. I love the title. That sounds like that's going to be pretty exciting. I might actually have to get that one for myself.
Check it out. You can pre-order it right now. We'll have all her information below. Also, don't forget to like,
Comment.
We should do comment first. I always messed it up.
Yeah, because I want to say subscribe after like.
We do want to hear, what are your thoughts? How do you improve your writing? How do you get better at your craft? What are the things that you employed?
Mm-hmm. So comment below. Let us know some of those things. And
don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and share,
because sharing
is caring.
And people won't know how much you care
until they see how much you share.
That was pretty good. It was reverse order this time.